Hey, Rory. How's it going, buddy?
Hey, not too bad, my friend. Not too bad. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Glad to have you here. I hear you had a long weekend.
Yeah, a
Over.
little mini weekend, sort of additional holiday time, I guess, and yeah, feeling a bit extra refreshed as a result, which is good.
So it was a bank holiday, is that right?
Yeah, in the UK we have these things called bank holidays. They seem to show up almost randomly, as far as I can tell. But I get told sort of before the weekend, yeah, bank holiday, don't need to see you till Tuesday. Perhaps it's just the rest of the country's joke on me trying to ship me off for a Monday. I don't know. But either way, an extra day off, which isn't too bad.
Yeah, I like it when the company tries to get rid of you. That's my favorite. That's my favorite. Cool. Well, we're here today. Hold on a second. Let me take a sip of my water. Well, I'm coming to you live from Costa Rica. Rory's coming to you live from somewhere in the UK, in an undisclosed location, secret bunker.
Secret bunker. You can hear the echo.
Yeah. So we played Dungeons and Dragons last weekend. Copper Beardy says 8 to 10 bank holidays a year, depending on where you were in the UK. So are the banks in control secretly in control of the population? Is that kind of what's going on?
I think the idea is that these were originally times when the banks would shut and you wouldn't be able to do anything, and therefore a lot of other things shut down as well.
Yeah.
But tourism being what it is, virtually everything everywhere is open, and there's still a lot of retail goes on.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah.
Clearly, it's the Illuminati. Interesting. Something like that. It's 91% here. Interesting. Let me just send the data over so we get rid of this, this obnoxious text in the upper left here. Let's come over here, initialize the player data. It looks like I got a breakpoint somewhere. Uh-oh. Index was out of range. Yeah, that's not right. I saw my code here before. And I think there's a better way to do this. I saw this and I was like, what was I thinking? And I think it's get player like that, and then we pass in player ID. That is going to work right there. So Legendary Moo's out there as well. Good to have you with us, Legendary Moo.
Welcome, Legendary Moo.
All right, let's see if we run with that. Actually, I want to actually. And what we got here, object reference not set to which one is not. Characters null. Who's calling me? What's my call stack? Hold on, let's go find our call stack here. I think it's something like Control Alt C or something like that. Yeah, there it is right there. Add Chaos Bolt is coming in, is calling it. And we're calling get player ID. Player ID is 2, and we get players not working. Why is that? How many players do I have? I have no players.
Did you initialize player data?
It's yeah, I think that's what I clicked. But guess who made a lot of changes to the structure of this whole thing, and did not run it yet until now. So hold on, let's do this. Let's switch to another view so at least we clear off that there.
I mustn't laugh. That's exactly what I've been known to do, and not so very long ago either.
Yeah, I made a lot of changes. Hey, baby. Keys. I don't know where the keys are. I do not have them in my pocket. I promise you that. And they weren't in my other shorts from yesterday. I don't think they're here. I would have, if I was a really good husband, I would have put them on the table right across from the door. I'm not a good husband. Are you sure? What's it do? Oh, hey, also close to heart is who wrote this mess? Oh, wait. What's Legendary Moo saying? Do it live. Well, I love when I look back at code and think, what was I thinking? So I'm not sure what you're talking about, Legendary Moo, and doing what live there. But all right. So yeah. So basically, I was like, these looking at the code were occurring to me, and I was like, I've got some problems here. And the problems were essentially in this main window, XAML.cs. In fact, you made changes and not tested run them yet. Yeah, well, that's kind of where we were. I made changes and built test cases for the changes I made, but didn't do anything at the higher level. I have a feeling I know what's going on. Before, with players, we were, let's see. I think we had like a, well, here's this problem again. This is wrong. That is wrong. It's not from there. It's just wrong. Get player. I want to fix that. And then this is going to be player ID, like that. And then I want to go back and I want to keep searching for players here. Look for all the players in here. And this time I want to copy to the clipboard because I have the mistake apparently in a lot of places here. This is going to become get player of player ID. What was I thinking is an extremely clean version of what I usually say. Oh, nice. You know, that's what we try to do here on this show is, you know.
That's probably because of the sunflowers and the soil, though,
Yeah,
more than anything else, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's right. All right, so I'm just going to keep going around here. Look at this. I'm going to actually now start sorting and replacing for this because that is wrong. We're not indexing by the player ID. What? Not found? Oh, because I got regular expressions turned on. Let's turn that off. And let's replace that. Can I hit enter here? Where's, I got to get the caret right over there or something. No more occurrences, just that one?
I almost wish for a tab to next expression.
Yeah, yeah, that would be awesome, wouldn't it?
I don't know how that would be really complicated to make, but yeah, interesting.
That would be cool. Yeah, with also with a paste and tab to the next expression, so I can replace it and then go to the next one. That would make that ability to very quickly go through, find the expressions, verify it's what you want to replace, and then replace it and go on. Maybe an enter key or something like that. I don't know, something fast.
Interesting.
Okay, so let's go back up to players. Build player UI. There's that, and we're just not initializing it anymore. I'm just going through all of the places. Build player tabs. Build player tabs is called from something like the initialize, I think, right in here.
There you go.
And here's where we need to, now I do have this build players here though. Oh, look, it's all commented out.
Weren't those test players at some point?
No, these were actual real players. I had, this looks like the code for the other test actual real players. This is essentially, arguably kind of the problem, I think. I had this class called Player Factory, and I was, and part of the problem is essentially I had data in the code. I put it in the code because it was fast to do. We were using edit and continue. We needed to test it, and it made sense in the moment. But what I really want to move to, let's see if I've got this here, is something like this, where I have, these are the players, and are they playing now? I got a big X here, fat X. I can, you know, at the last minute, decide who's going to be playing in the game, export the CSV, load up the CSV, and then run. And then, so these are, I've got all of the aspects of the players here. I've got, including their leftmost priority. So my idea was to sort by this priority here. So whoever's playing the game will arrange the characters left to right based on that priority. So that's all in the CSV. So in the last minute, we can make some sort of changes here. Proficient skills here. So you see insight, perception, performance separated by commas, and some other data that's important, including the hue shift. So a player's got a hue shift, which can affect special effects, and it can affect other things. I just noticed in my drone game, those coins are all spinning around oddly in sync. I'm going to try refreshing that cache and see if that fixes it.
Better.
Yeah, better. I like that. And then the color of their dice as well. And then the headshot index, which is used down low to show what picture on the scroll.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that. Spells. I imported some data over the weekend. Found some spell data, and I imported it. And then I assigned Overkill Productions to it, and went overkill on it, the data. So. So, as an example, a number of these.
Hugo is in the house.
Hugo's in the house. Welcome,
Hey,
Hugo.
Hugo.
Glad to see you. Also glad to hear that our fanfares are working.
That is in the house.
Surgeon General's warning, Will is bad for your code. 9.5 out of 10 doctors, Will is bad for your health. What do they know? Fine print works on my machine, not liable for production crashes. Please code responsibly. It's Will Bennett, people.
Greetings, Will.
Sometimes I think Will is just lurking with that on the clipboard, waiting to see if anybody else's fanfare works, so he doesn't
pretty
come
sure
in.
that's what it is, isn't it? I was thinking exactly that.
Good to have you with us, Will. Thanks so much to have you with us, whether you're lurking or not. Everybody, happy to have you with us today. Thanks so much.
Nice, you. We'll ship your machine, Will. That'll do it.
Yeah, how was your weekend, everybody? Hugo says he's got some stormy weather. You're in Dallas, Hugo? You do not have to answer that personal information now that the world has changed, right? I can see you, Frackberg, says Copperbeardy. Always lurking, says Frackberg. Nice. Glad to have you with us, everybody. So what am I doing over here? Some of these spells, Rory, so they have check out what I did. So first of all, I changed their die roll, or maybe even added the die roll. I'm not sure if I did this. I think I added this one, die stir right here. And I specified, using the syntax that we have for our Dungeons and Dragons die rolling syntax, what special effect is going to go on that damage die, right? Acid, fire, whatever, necrotic. I also added a SAM. A SAM stands for the Spellcaster's Ability Modifier. So whatever your Spellcaster Ability Modifier is, that's going to be added there. I also added, notice the bang symbol here at the beginning. Those are for instant die. And I added in Divine Smite and Divine Smite Undead Fiends, which is not technically a spell, but behaves a lot like a spell. It takes up a spell slot. Interesting. Frackberg is just totally, I stand corrected on that. It's serverless application model. So the wizard casts the spell. They check to see what the serverless application model is, and they add that to the die roll. I'm pretty sure that's right now. So we've got this, and by the way, dang all these acronyms, says Frackberg. Frackberg, you keep talking. I'm going to make a fanfare for you, buddy. That's a threat. That's a threat, sir. CM Griffing is in here. CM Griffing, welcome as well. Good to have you. Frackberg shuts up. Quiet now. Very quiet. I'll do it. Frackberg, you're inspiring me already. Speaking of being inspired, Rory.
Yeah.
This damage dice thing that we've got is good, right? Look at, here, let me scroll up a little bit so you can see this here.
Yeah, that's better. I did wonder.
So look at this. I mean, they're all here, but this, look, it's radiant and it's damaged, right? So we just do this roll on its own. It's like, okay, I know what I'm going to do here. This syntax that we kind of just built up over time is good. And I'll show you what's bad. Let me go over in the shortcuts. In the shortcuts, I have this column called type, and I've specified the type of it. Well, this type is actually connected to an enum, that actually includes like 20 different types of rolls. That is bad. What I want to do is turn the whole thing into a string. I'm not going to do that today. Everybody gets a fanfare. Yeah, it's going to be a frackin' fanfare, Hugo. That's what I was going to do for Frackberg. I love that handle. Really fun. So I was like, I know I'm going to change this, but I haven't changed it yet, and I'm moving towards more data-driven application. Frackberg says as long as it's BSG related, we're good. I have to apologize. I don't know what that is. Do you know what that is, Rory? BSG?
I'm going to go with Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, cool. That's you're smart, Rory. Battlestar, there it is.
Well,
good job. I was like all scared for a second. I was like, oh, it's some server thing I don't know. Here's me stupid again, but it's just me stupid in a different way. So that's not bad. Battlestar Galactica. I never got into that. It's on my list of great stuff that everybody loves that I should get into when it's time for me to do that. So
when you get some of that spare time that you need.
Yeah. So even though I'm headed in the right direction by putting all these at least in a spreadsheet for now, basically pulling the data out of the code. I reluctantly kept this kind of crappy piece of inside it because I didn't want to break everything and change everything. Okay, so Frackberg says, I'm sure I could come up with a server-related acronym for BSG if I were feeling ambitious. I bet you could, Frackberg. I bet you could. That's the thing about these TLAs, the three-letter acronyms. So anyway, this is still here. It's going to be removed, is my hope. That's my hope.
Okay.
I got another thing going on down here in the bottom left here, that I don't like, but I think I'm gonna keep for now, but maybe change. So each of these, by the way, this shortcuts file, this corresponds to the shortcuts in the Stream Deck. Let me switch for a second over to my left Stream Deck and to the Dragon Humper Show Stream Deck, which is right here. And when I click on a player, like for example, Fred, and then I go click on, nope, Fred doesn't have actions yet. Let's click on me, Merkin, go into actions. And then I've got these actions that come across the top. These are the different buttons that I can press here to do different kinds of things. And they trigger different kinds of effects. They cast spells. They do all kinds of things with the D&D engine. So that's the Stream Deck. Those are currently, these are in the Stream Deck because I added them manually, but they work because they're also in the Dragon Humper's DM app, which is just not working, but they're on these pages. Whenever it's somebody's page, you get all the shortcuts for the different things that they can do. So I started moving the shortcuts into this file. I've only added some for Ava. These are not her complete list. But one of the things that I'm not so fond of already in here is that I can have a spell and cast it at multiple levels. Well, if I cast a spell at the third level, or in a third level spell slot or a second level spell slot, it has different effects. The die roll is different.
Okay, yeah.
Okay? And right now what I'm doing that I'm not liking is and Divine Smite has two different effects, one on undead fiends and one without. So what I'm doing is I'm saying, well, okay, here's spell slot 1. That's what the brackets indicate, and this is spell slot 2. I'm not liking it. I want it to kind of automatically fill into all available spell slots, but I got to read the rules. I'm not exactly sure how to do that.
Okay.
So I got to do that.
It's starting to look a lot like CodeRushed templates. Insofar as that you've almost got this parameter of what the target of the spell is, which will alter the way in which it runs. I mean, you say Divine Smite and you tell it what that sort of target is, and you get a different effect.
Yeah. No, you're right. There's definitely, I'm kind of building an engine here is what's going on, right? I didn't show you all the way down in spells here. Here's where it gets crazy when I scroll to the right here. When I scroll to the right, we have, where is it? Higher levels. So there's some text. This spell's damage increases by 1d6 when you reach 5th level, 11th and 17th. Look at this, 2d6, 3d6. Okay. See that? Now ready for crazy? Here's Overkill Productions. Overkill Productions says, okay, well, what is the bonus? Here, let me just do this. It gives me a bonus threshold right here. And this C means spellcaster's ability -1. My spellcaster level -1. So if I'm 5th level, we subtract 1 and I get to 4. Then bonus per level, look at this, 0.166667. I take the 4 times the 0.167 and see where I'm at right in there, right? Or I'm sorry, no, it's not -1, it's between -1 and my level. So if I'm at 5th level, I go from -1 to my 5th level, because this is the starting threshold right here. And so I'm now at 6. So 6 times 1, 6 is equal to 1, which means I get 1 extra d6 right there. There's my bonus type, and if there was a bonus max, it would be here. So basically, I take this sentence and turn it into these 4 fields, is what I've done for all of these spell effects. And I've tested it intermittently, and what's flippin' cool about it is that it's getting the damage dice rolls correct, regardless of what the spellcaster's ability, what the the spellcaster's level is and
That is
their
nice.
Yes, it is, because otherwise this is a pain in the butt, because now I level up and now I got to go change all my spell buttons and my shortcuts. I don't want to do that, right? So that's what I was working on over the weekend, was getting the spells done, and I've got and so that part was essentially completed, not thoroughly tested. Ava's, I was working on this last night, and I filled this out last night. One other thing that's cool about this, because I took a couple stabs at this spreadsheet, right?
Yeah.
And I originally started with a spreadsheet that was 4 times as wide as this. And the reason why was because with, like, for example, the battle axe, you can have one effect, right? That's got, you know, a name and a hue and a scale, rotation, degrees offset, all of these settings. And then you can have up to 3 more, right? I've got some of these with a total of 4 effects. Like the lady's hammer, she's got a spinning magical effect in the front of the hammer, a one in the back, and one on the handle, plus the 3D of the hammer itself. So a total of 4 effects. And I'm like, I didn't want it that wide because it's really hard to maintain. I want to be able to see the data close to each other. So I did something totally non-standard in a table. But basically I did this. Look, if there's nothing on the next line here for the player name, then this is an add-on effect to whatever's in front of it. I also, because I wanted to be able to add things later, I added a syntax. If I had a double slash in the front, we were going to comment out. We were not going to add this effect. So I'm just putting this in so I know the name of the effect if I want to refer to it and use it for the battle axe. So the battle axe has got a magic A and a magic B. And I think the hammer's got a magic A, magic B, and magic C, but I'm not sure. But when I...
Surly Dad is in the house.
Watch out, Mark. Surly
on
Dad.
standby.
He's right there and he's flying around in my spreadsheet. Seriously, dude, that's my spreadsheet you're flying around in.
Speaking of your spreadsheet, and just a tiny thing that bugs me just a little bit that might be helpful. If you go to the View menu at the top,
Yes.
there is a single entry underneath it called Freeze.
Yeah.
And if you freeze one row,
Oh!
now you can
my
scroll
God.
down.
I was convinced. I was looking for it here and it wasn't here, and I was convinced that it was patented, and that's why they hadn't implemented it. Dude, you're a genius. Look at you. That's so
just one
awesome.
of those things that bugs me when it's not that way. But
Yeah, no, it bugs me like crazy. Now that's perfect and beautiful. It's awesome. So,
There you go.
so yeah, that's great. So now I've got the battle axe. I can put the effects in. I also added but did not implement an end sound. So the start sound happens when the weapon comes up or whatever it is, and the end sound will be played when the weapon goes down, just as it's sort of like a whoosh, like a slash or something. I'm going to add that. But the cool thing is now I can come in and modify these as an artist or a designer, export the file, and then reload them and see how they work. So we'll hopefully be able to test this out today. First, we got to get the players loading. So let's go back to the code and figure that out. We're in the build players here. Nothing is loading right now. Somewhere out, I guess I could keep this, but it's not feeling like kind of so keepable right now. I kind of want to kill the whole thing. I think I don't want my player factor anymore. I've got something I think called all players. This is what I created. And let me check in some code. Holy cow. Let's do that. And I think Legendary Moods made some updates out there. We're going to have to go check those out as well. So a ton of stuff. Let me just go through here. I've got some tests. Here's the thing, Roy. The tests, I feel really good about, right? I'm making this massive change, right? Every time I started making a change, I went out and I was like, well, let's get the tests out. Let's get the tests, make sure it's working. And so I've got some tests. Let me even see if I can get one of these tests up here. So you can take a look at some of the recent stuff that I've done here. It's going to be over in D&D tests. The other thing about the tests is I found some things that were high level that need to be low level that tests couldn't reach. And I was like, wait, why is that there? It needs to come down. And so building the test helped out there. Let's see. Action shortcut tests. So I only have one. But basically, I'm going into all action shortcuts, which is going to get its data. And by the way, I created a test folder for test data so I could save what I have and I want to test in there. but it won't be always updated every time I make a change. So when I make a change, I'll put
Okay.
this in a different folder. So my test will always pass. But I want my test to verify that I'm bringing in the data that's here in the sheet. So here I'm checking to see, hey, can I even all action shortcuts, and all action shortcuts get, it's passing in a player ID.ava. Oh, I did this too. This was also cleaned up the code a lot. So I created a player ID class with just the constants for the different IDs that we've created. And then I've added a from name as well so we can get these. So this is kind of a hard-coded binding here. This could turn into a CSV as well.
Yes.
But this is, that's what's going on here, is this player ID class. And I go into the get on all action shortcuts. I'll just drill into this so you can see it. Goes into all shortcuts. All shortcuts is here, but guess what? I'm in a static class, which means I'm going to call this the first time I'm referencing it. And in here, I'm going to call load data, which is just going to load this CSV up. And it's going into folders.inCore data. But look at that. Check it out. It says, hey, if use test data is true, then we're getting it from this test folder instead. So all I have to do is set use test data to true, and everything else, no other code changes. And now I'm getting the test data instead.
Good. So your methods remain as consistent as possible across both test and true implementation, but you swap out the source of data when you're doing a test, which is good.
We need to add more flowers, I'm thinking. We need a different kind of flower. We'll do that. And then I call it that process DTOs. So process DTOs goes through and says, hey, is that shortcut player name, is that player name empty? Is it here or here? Right, like that? And if it is empty, then I'm just going to add it to the last, I'm going to grab the effect and add it to the last shortcut, whatever that is.
That makes sense, yeah.
Okay? Otherwise,
it's cumulative effects.
It's not entered. Then I'm going to add a new shortcut. That's what I'm doing. So I'm just going through and adding all of them. Boom. And
so now you're steadily making it so that you can just describe everything you want in the CSV file. So you say, well, here's my person. It has all of these effects on it. Oh, yeah, but I want to add this one and this one and this one. So you get to use multiple rows. And then you say, okay, now I'm going to start this new series of things. And it means that when you're editing this, there is far, far less chance of introducing actual bugs. Because you're not changing code.
Right. Also, the other thing is it allows me, when I'm looking at the shortcuts, I'm looking at the spell effects. It allows me to kind of see what's happening in other places very easily, right? Everything's together, right? Some of these spell effects do things that are not obvious from these numbers, right? But they rotate the spell so it's going over my shoulders, for example. The degree offset, right, changes where it starts from, so they all cross at the same point if we want, or they cross at different times. Right, those kinds of things are there. So it allows a designer to kind of take over the look and feel if we want to do that. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on there. Let's jump back. We're just hitting escape to jump back to where we were. Build players, escape, I think, to get out of there.
You're calling, I forget actually, but it was something that you could do a load on rather than, was it all players.load?
Yeah. I think I've still got it in the, there, that's where we were right there. All players. And then we've got players in here. What if I did this? I wonder if that would work. Is players going to load itself up? I think it is. Yeah. Do that. All players is equal to that. But I could also, because this is an initialize button right here, I could come in and let's do this. Let's extract this method into something called initialize. Initialize data, or just initialize like that. That's good enough. Let's make it public. What do I already initialize? What's going on? What is it not like? Misspelled word? Oh, let's just let CodeRushed do that for me. There we go. That's better. All right. And now what I want to do instead is I want to call allplayers.initialize and then say it's equal to all players, because that will then allow me to reload the file every time.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm just going to say reload No, let's just this. I'm not going to put a comment. Instead, I'm just going to say or load data, I guess. Load data like that, so it's obvious what's happening. So we're going to do that. Copper Beauty says, Surly Dove drone chasing game on a map. Drone chasing game on a map. All right, let's see how we're doing. See if we get a bunch of... oh, but we're not clicking. We might get... oh, we didn't get any errors. So let's come in and hit players and initialize the data. And... ooh, it worked. Oh, kind of worked. So it brought all of them in. Okay? That's not what I want. I don't want everybody. But cool. Very cool. We're getting close. I want to set a breakpoint here. Let's initialize player data again. Good job, Rory. Thanks for that. And now I'm going to say, I think there's something, I think there's a, what is there? There's a get active. That's what I want. That's going to give me all the active players, like that.
Okay, because now you've got kind of got a field of players that aren't necessarily all present for any given instance.
Yes, there we go. And now we got the 4. Okay, these are the buttons here. These are still added by code. I'm going to change this. So Ava's got a whole bunch of stuff here, and we haven't put all of her stuff in yet. But I want to change it so that Ava this is all data driven. Let's check it. So right now, if I hit Battle Axe 1H, this is kind of what's currently happening. If I hit 2H, it has a special effect on it. Now, in here, for the 2H, I did not add the special effect. I commented it out. Mm-hmm. Did I set the values? I didn't set any values, though. I probably should have done that. But we'll play with that maybe if we get this actually working. So that's kind of what's going on. So we are going to, she's got a great, let's kind of see what we're missing from her data. Kind of do it like this. So we've got, let's close the scroll so we can see what I'm looking at. So on the left over here, this is what I built. I built Battle Axe 1H, 2H, Greatsword. What do you want to say, Rory?
I was curious just a second ago, when you switched from Battle Axe 1H to 2H,
yeah,
did it execute the first one?
It did.
So if Dungeon Master changes his mind, oh, I've hit the wrong button, there is actually a presumption that the first thing will be executed at the moment.
Well, it doesn't execute it as much as drop it.
Oh, okay.
Right now, this is just an effect that stays up. In fact, I think we did this while you were gone. We now added an animation that can have ending frames to it. So that you can say, I'm in a loop. I'm not sure if you were with us or not. Maybe you were. But you can have a loop, and that's what I'm in here. It's just an animation loop here. After this, there's a sequence where it slices down. And when I expire it, it slices down. So I can expire it by doing an attack roll. And when the roll stops, it slices.
Okay.
Because we now know whether we hit or not. And so we can do it. Oh, we got a bonus roll because Ava can't roll.
Unbelievable damage.
And there's a slice. And I want the sound effect when it comes down. So that's one way. And it can also come down if I switch weapons. So if I say, oh, here's my greatsword, and then I'm going to switch to my gnome, I want my javelin instead, it's got to come down. And right now I just have it ending and doing that. But we could have it drop down instead if we wanted to.
Okay.
Okay.
But it understands that it is not going to perform the action, so to speak. It is just ending an animation.
Yeah,
that's cool.
The animation is just an effect right now. It's just an effect to kind of keep things going right here. That's all that's going on there. The other thing I like about this is I don't have a set to breakpoint anymore to make changes, right? I can make changes. I do have to save the file, right? But once I make those changes, save the file, I just come back in here, hit initialize player data, it's going to reload it. Well, at least it's going to reload. Does it reload the shortcuts too? I don't think it does. So we want to actually get that done too. Initialize attack shortcuts. We want to solve that. So I think we're actually ready to start. Anybody nervous like I am that this is all going to fail miserably? I do want to come. I want to come back and just remind everybody that this worked. So that when I came in and I said, hey, all action shortcuts, get player Ava, right? So I got those. Then I said, check, is there one in there called Javelin? It said, yeah, there is one. In fact, let's see. Can we do this while it's running? Can I run this test? No, I don't want to stop debugging. All right. So, so that came back true. And then this one also was the second one I wrote just before I was, called down away from my computer. And I checked to see if I could get Thunderous Smite. And Thunderous Smite is there. And I wanted to check to make sure that it had 3 windups. And it did. And when I saw that, I knew that these were coming in. That one, this one, and that one. So it's going to show lightning and 2 wides is what it was going to do. Which is cool, right? These effects don't have to be in front and in back. Now, there's one small tricky thing on this whole deal. And that is that because of the nature of the windups and the engine we wrote, we're sending the same windup to both front and back. And if they both have it, they show it. But one of them has got to be able to play the sounds, right? And right now, so far, I've only got the back layer playing the sounds because we don't want both layers playing sounds when it comes in. But some of these are only on one of the 2 layers. For example, lightning is only on the back layer and there's no lightning on the front. Okay? So the question is, who plays the lightning sound? Well, that should be, maybe the back. What happens if I have something only in the front? Who should play that sound? That's the only thing I got to figure out. I haven't quite figured out how we're going to do that. Maybe with the syntax. Oh, and speaking of syntax, there's one other thing that I want to do. I want to do something like this. I want to just be able to support putting a number in brackets at the end. And if that number in brackets is at the end, that means I've got X, that many number of cure wound sounds out there, or whatever the sound effect is, and it's going to randomly pick one of them. That's what I want to. I want to be able to support that too. So I can, again, as a designer, I can just put a bunch of different sounds out there. If I've got 1 through 5 and it was a 5 in brackets and I add 2 more, I can change it to a 7, put those out there, and I don't need to change any code, right? So I want to be able to do that. Most of these spells probably won't do these kinds of things, but there are other cases where we do want random sound selected. For example, when we change players, right? When I do this,
Eva.
And I go back to Merkin.
Merkin Bushwhacker.
It's a little bit different, right? The voiceover is different.
Merkin Bushwhacker.
Right,
Eva.
each time. So we
a
don't.
little bit more organic. 'Cause
Yes.
You've got variety going on.
Yeah, so we don't, get sick of this whole thing. All right, so let's see if we figure out how to do this. So all action shortcuts, we want to be playing in that space. Let's go, let's see. Where were we? Looks like we moved a little bit from where we were. Was initialized was the name of where we were, I think. And so let's see what initialized attack shortcuts looks like. Add player action shortcuts for Willy. Yeah, that's all the stuff I don't want to do anymore. Let's comment out. Let's start by just commenting out Ava. So we're going to do this a little bit at a time. I'm going to click on initialize player data. And we'll stop that breakpoint there. And we're going to comment out Ava. So Ava's going to go away. All our shortcuts are gone. And I come out here.
Merkin Eva.
And going to play, and you can see she's got no buttons here.
Merkin
Merkin does.
Eva.
All right, next. That's step one.
Superpowers have all been removed.
Yeah. There's one other piece of this here. It's in action shortcuts. It's in action shortcuts. Okay. So let's click initialize again. Get the breakpoint. We need to modify this. We need to add player action shortcuts to this thing. But what's going on in, what is it? I think it's all shortcuts? All action shortcuts. What is it dealing with? I'm just going to drill into this. All right, cool. It's dealing with player action shortcuts. I think we don't need to do anything necessarily here. I think we're maybe done here for now. Let's go see where the other places we're working with the action shortcuts are. Shortcut buttons here. All right, so now what I want to do is this. I want to say, hey, look, if this dot count equals 0, then I want to say player actions is equal to that instead. We're going to, could it be that easy? So we've initialized the data. Switch over.
Bushwhacker.
Uh-oh.
Interesting.
I know what this is. Yes. The problem, adding the shortcuts, there's something called a shortcut index. This index goes to the tag, and this index is assigned when we build it. But it's equal to shortcut index, and shortcut index is reset to 0 when I call prepare for creation. But I don't think I'm dealing with, so this is how I'm dealing with here when I create a new one. That should be here. I think I'm calling prepare for creation maybe twice. That might be the problem. Let's see if that's the case. Let's just, can I run it or is it dead? It's dead. Okay. Let's run it one more time and see if I actually calling it twice. Or maybe just hit tab to next reference here. There. I think just here. All right, what if we did this? Let's say all action shortcuts dot
Getting some interesting buffering effects, Mark, both on the stream and on Skype. Not particularly severe, but occasionally just little freezes here and there.
okay.
Interesting because it is Skype and the stream.
Right now, my it shows my output is my upload speed is good, but thank you for that feedback. Let's see what I want to do here. I want to go, I think, into load data, and I want to. I need to reload the data. Is basically what I need to do in here. Extract this method. Call this also load data. So load data with nothing on it. And it's going to go grab the other one. Let's go move this down near the other one and make it public. So that's going to load the data up. And if I do that right after calling, I think we might solve that other problem right there. Let's see what my, how are we doing here? That's not bad. I'll take 64%. And I still haven't checked in my code yet. Let's see if we can get a little closer to that. No, we did not solve that problem. Let's just double check what our, wait, I thought we made, is there a second place where we're adding shortcut buttons here? Pretty sure that's Ava. So we're adding these.
But then accidentally adding them a second time.
I don't think that's the case. Are we maybe not clearing? That's a really good actual. That's really good. I bet you're right, Rory. Actually, let's give that a serious look at here. What is it? All short action shortcuts. Whoops, that's not the right spot. Here, let's just drill into this class. Yeah, this is in the wrong place. This needs to be inside of load data here. That might be it, Rory. I don't know. That might be it. Let's kill this and rerun it one more time. Oh, that's interesting. Look at that. The chutes aren't working. Oh no, it's dropping. All right. So this
It's weird. The video is frozen, but your audio for me.
What is that? That's really strange. Well,
It's like a periodic period of intensity,
Yeah.
and then it goes away.
I'm gonna.
It's not enough to completely wipe you out either. It's sort of.
Yeah. I'm gonna put this over in my left monitor and take a look at that. Okay. So this highlight rectangles thing here. This is a dictionary. This is what helps us figure out what where to put these things. So these indexes need to be sequential in all the player action shortcuts. I guess what I'm not getting. Why is this the case?
So Ava's was removed from the middle of the stack. She's like the third or fourth person whose actions are or were being added.
Yeah.
But she's now being added as the first. Where do those indexes come from when it's data driven?
I don't think the indexes come from the constructor. So it's here in the constructor and make it private, and I think everything's for the applicant. Frozen up again here. There's my. Now I'm moving my mouse. Index is set here when we create a new one, and that's based on shortcut index, which is incremented, which is here. So that's private, static, right there. And so every time. What's going on? But when I look at interesting, when I went to my task manager, I was 70, but then something is kicking me up. I should. Interesting. Yeah. Well, 5 seconds was just part of that Visual Studio. So let me. All right, shortcut index. I don't know if I want to set this. I'm not convinced this is CodeRushed and/or Visual Studio yet because it's like my whole
I think
mouse
this is much higher than that, isn't it?
My mouse is freezing. Yeah. All right. So let's see here. Prepare for creation. We verified this is only being called once. Yeah. We go ahead and build these individually. So yeah, Ava's will come first. Let's look at this. Why is it load data? Load data. Am I not converting these over? I am. It looks like I am. I'm returning these. Okay. Oh. Here. This is part of the problem. This load data. Wait. Needs to be passed to process DTO.
Okay.
So I'm going to change this up a little bit right here. I'm going to change this. I'm going to invert this. We're not processing, so that's part of the problem. I don't think this is the entirety of it. But let's go find this load data here. And what I want to do in load data here is I want to say this right here. Like that, process DTOs. And this, I don't think I want this public at all anymore. I'm going to make this private, right, like that. And this is going to be a void now. Okay, so now that's feeling a little bit better to me because we're not going to process those at least. I'm not convinced this is going to solve the problem though. Let's run it, figure it out. I think a huge part of this, Rory, is figuring out what is it we need to, where's the data? If we just look at the problem, I think the biggest problem is trying to figure out where the data is.
Could you reach back to where it said all action? It was the call to the static. You were there just before this screen. I think you've got a call to .load on it, wherever it was.
I'm sorry. I'm going to go back over into the all action shortcuts.
All player actions, I think.
All action shortcuts, I think.
.load data. Right. Just maybe a little higher up where we are. Right. There you go. There's a static constructor there, which internally calls load data.
Right.
Right. But if you go to the reference, find the reference to that method, a call to it. So just off the top of the screen, line 10. I want to see where that's called from. There you go. So you're calling .load data, but the constructor has already called load data.
Yeah. I'm doing that on purpose because I want to reload the CSV is what I want to do.
Okay. And that should be okay because load data itself does do a clear.
Yeah, it should be. But I'm actually going to change this and put this in process DTOs is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the clear here. That's where it belongs. I'm not sure what I was thinking when I put that over there. So there's process DTOs. That's good. I think we need to go back in the call stack and figure out what's happening here. Let's actually set a breakpoint like here, because that by itself should be totally fine. In fact, I bet we get through all of this pretty fine here. And I think I also want to do, let's set a breakpoint here and let's just follow it through. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that, I guess, to get down here. Can I get out of here? No, I'm going to do it every single time. I've got a whole bunch of these to get through. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's get out. And let's get out of the for loop. Come down over here and just run it. We still come back. Oh, did we get out that time? Okay, maybe or no. Okay, maybe we're out. All right. So looks like we're running. Let's hit the initialize button again. Wait, so it looks like, I don't, okay, not
We just
happy.
hit that before the breakpoint. How have we achieved that?
Yeah, this is, the exception is coming up again here. Let me get out here. Let me point here because I want to be careful about jumping in here. Come out here, run. Really? Add shortcut button. Player ID. Are we just adding them for everybody? Run. Run. All right, so now...
Lady McLovenuts!
Now let's go in. I'm going to click initialize player data. And, okay, prepare for creation. Shortcut index is 0. That's kind of what I'm expecting, I guess. And, yeah, so there we've had that call. Now we're going to call load data. And actually, before I do that, let's go find shortcut index where it's used and just verify this is running. Because that should be totally running, and I'm like, why isn't that running? Do I have like another constructor here I've forgotten about or something? Let's see what happens here. We're going to load data, so I'm just hit F10 here. All right, there's our first one. It's now, first one's index 0. Here's the second one. Okay, this is all working. I'm not sure why my indexes are going to 0. Video's frozen. Everything was frozen for a little bit. And oh yeah, KBS dropped down to the red, and then it's back. All right. So there's that. There's that. It's just red, red. We're setting the tags. Setting the tags. Yeah, it's not set anywhere else. So the real question is, yeah, I don't understand how we're getting 2 zeros in there unless the data's showing up more than once. Maybe that's it, Rory. Maybe it's that kind of a problem. This all looks right to me. I'm going to just run that. And what's going on? I just ran. No errors. Okay, let's change to Ava.
Ava Wolfhard.
Okay, here we're at this point now. Let's step into it. Let's see what's going on here. Let's see, player actions are 16. Let's look what the indexes are here. 0, okay, I accept 1 can be 0. 1, 2, okay. So let's just step into it. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. All right, I'm just keep running. What? Where's this coming from? Let's go look at that call stack again.
A little strange, eh?
Yeah, it's like that where we just were. Let's look at these player actions and look at these. Hold on. Index is 0. Index is 1. Is there some problem out at the end? Nope, index is 15. Are we just doing it
consistent?
Maybe we're doing it a second
16
time.
actions.
Maybe we're doing it a second time. Maybe we're doing it a second time. Maybe we're not clearing. Hold on. Maybe we're not clearing out the this thing. Yeah. I think that might be the problem. Highlight rectangles is maybe not being cleared out, set to null. Let's see when we set it to null. Boom. Well, happening there. Happens there. And I think that's probably it. There we create the new one. So it's as if we're adding the same data twice, is what it seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I'm going to kill it and just look at the code.
So what calls the add shortcut buttons? This whole method that we're in.
This one right here, add shortcut buttons. Set action shortcuts for player ID, which is called when the player changes.
Okay, so we pass in the active player ID, which then calls 4 sets of add shortcut buttons. One for the active player, one for the bonus actions for the active player. So yeah, the 4 separate sections. Okay, fair enough.
Oh, that might be part of the problem. Is that it? Let's go take a look at that. Oh no, this is
Just passing in the
part.
stack panel to which buttons should be added.
Yeah, so then I'm going in here into the action shortcuts and saying where. But what's curious to me is, wait, this is, hold on, let's look at action shortcuts. So action shortcuts, I almost feel like, so I remember that we added that code before. Hold on, I want to go the other way. Oh, I guess I don't. I guess I'm somewhere in the middle of all this. Yeah, this is all the mess I want to remove. I think what I want to do, let's go find that. I think what I want to do Hold on. Oh wait, it wasn't action shortcuts. It was the buttons. Wait, was it? This right here. Yeah, I get. I think I understand the problem. Okay, it was not as. It wasn't in the places we were looking. The problem is here. We were filtering this by the parts. That's what was happening.
Okay.
And we were not in our secondary attempt to get that data. That's why it was coming in a couple times and we were seeing that. So here, where we do the get on this, what we want to do is we want to give it a secondary piece here where the part is. In fact, what I think I really want to do is I think I want to create a secondary one here where I get the part as well. And we essentially have this code in. So let's do that. Let's declare that. And the turn part. And frozen again. There we go. It's going to be something like this.
Frozen again. Perfect audio for me.
There we go. Yeah, and it drops. It's like, and it looks like it's Visual Studio. I got Visual Studio at about 60-something% is what I had, and then it dropped down. But this number right here, percentage of CPU, was like at 60, something like that. It was for Visual Studio. So I don't know if it's a restart of that is what I'm looking at or what. But okay, so it looks like that. So there's my new get there. And that time when it froze, you went silent, Rory. I'm going to kill Visual Studio and restart it. I'm going to give that a shot. I don't know.
You had an unsaved file, did you?
Yeah, I saved it. I clicked yes to save it.
Okay.
And let's... Build shortcut button not using the value correctly or at all. Kids must all be streaming shows by Overkill Productions 8K because Overkill. Yeah. All right. So let's see what we got here. Here's my CPU speed. We're at CPU right now. So I'm cool with 30%. I'm not cool with 60%. All right. So now let's try run.
Okay. Fresh studio, fresh run. Build errors.
You need a semicolon. What language do you think you're working in, buddy? No overload. I think there's an overload now that takes 2 arguments. Yeah, okay. All right, we're good now, I think. This, though, I'm not so happy with this. I really want to integrate this into action shortcuts. This is kind of like a temporary solution here.
Mm-hmm.
So not happy with it. We'll fix that, hopefully. What's my problem? Oh, it's just a breakpoint. Okay. Run.
Leave it, love nuts.
Okay. Players, initialize player data. Clear that breakpoint. Run. Clear that breakpoint. Run. And now
Merkin!
there's Merkins. And let's see.
Ava!
Ava's got stuff. Excellent. And check it out. We even have bonus actions down here for Ava.
Yeah.
I don't think we have everything that we had before, but we do have these pieces. I'm going to have to change the UI so that we can wrap these things here. But,
Sure.
But now what would be super cool is if I clicked on Javelin and we actually saw a Javelin, but we do not. Oh, and we also don't see the markers underneath. All right. Well, at least it's good. We know we're kind of moving forward. Like here, everything works, right? I can make these choices here. You should enable smooth streaming environment variable to true before the show. Yeah, you're right. I think there's an option somewhere inside of here in the options in Visual Studio to just be, just it says awesome version, and I forgot to check that. So I think I did. These are cool effects. Aren't these awesome?
They're nice effects, yeah.
I feel like a wizard here almost.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Just like, yeah, back up, buddy. Yeah, I love these behind the back effects here, right? You can kind of, if I move, you can see them coming from behind me, yeah. Very cool stuff that we built before. Okay, so kind of working. I almost feel like, Rory, if we just dive in and bring all the action shortcuts across and just put those in the main one, I think we might be okay. It's kind of what I'm saying here. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Let's see. I forget what function we were just in. Let's go. Let's see if Code Places can help us. I come over here and go into recent places. Really, no elements found here? Recent? What's global history going to do for me? Well, it's got to get there. I'm going to call this looks like a bug here, Rory, to me. Buddy.
Right, yeah.
Rory's like, well, if you're right, Mark, you've got a button that can do this. No, oh wait, is this true because I just restarted Visual Studio? It's not a bug.
Oh.
I just restarted it. That's why. I haven't made any changes here yet. But let's go into global history though and see if that's oh yeah, is that going to get me close by? All action shortcuts get load data. Yeah. Here though, this can get us to the function we want to get to right here. All right, that's where I was looking at being here. The player action shortcuts. Yeah, I think I want to go find my load here. Set a breakpoint. Let's try and just kind of dive in further. Even though it's not working in the pieces that I wanted to, I want to try and dive in even further and commit more to this. So I think what I want to do instead of all of this is I want to say action shortcuts equals all action shortcuts dot, and then I'm just going to get them all shortcuts, like that. And then I'm going to comment out all of these guys.
Right, because you don't need anything for specific characters when you're getting everything.
Yeah, when I'm getting it from the data. Let's just see what happens. What are we dealing with in that scenario there? Okay, so I just ran it, and I've got the right character names across the top. Let's change to Ava's got some. Now notice nothing changed here. Discussion looked important, didn't want to interrupt, says Codeman Codes. Welcome, Codeman Codes. With the sneaky entry, right. Yeah.
Welcome indeed.
I'm not sure we ever really have an important discussion on this show. The most important discussion goes along the lines of, Rory, really, you have to go? He's like, yes, I have to go. I've been here 2 hours. But Rory, don't you love us, Rory? You know, and he's like, yes, I love all of you, and I have to go. Because I have a family elsewhere. I go, you have a secret family? And he's like, yes, I do have it's not so secret. It's just an actual real family. And I have to go see them sometimes. I spend time with them. You spend time with them, but not us sometimes? It kind of goes like that. Show the Rory thing, Mark. Wait, oh, I did. I showed him already. He saw it the last time before we left. We'll show it again. I'll show it again. Hold on a second. We'll do it when it's time for Rory to go. So, gosh, that didn't work like I wanted it to.
It was not as smooth and perfect as
yeah, I was expecting
ideally the case.
I was expecting nothing to show up here, or at least an exception somewhere. Do I have a break on exception? Where are my exceptions? Where's the exceptions window? I have to come over here. Exception settings, is that it? Break when, I think I'm going to do that. Let's try one more time just to see if there's anything maybe we're catching.
Merkin Bushwhacker.
Yeah, no, that's not it.
Merkin Lady.
Yeah, it's just gross and ugly and not working at all.
The clear's not working either.
It's the whole thing is bizarre. to me. So now none of this is being called. I'm like curious as to what was going on before, or is there, maybe there's code that just doesn't, that if it finds none, it doesn't clear. Maybe that's the problem. Let's go out there and jump out to whoever's calling get with, let's go look over here. And let's set a breakpoint here. Actually, yeah, who's calling this? Yeah, this is where we should be clearing these for all of these. Set action shortcuts is called there. That's whenever we get a tab player change. So let's just change the tab player. And now we're in. And you got about 5 minutes before you have to leave.
Yeah. Hugo was asking me.
And then it's going to be, then in like 5 minutes, you're telling me it's going to be time for Rory to leave? Is that what you're telling me?
Possibly.
No. That's all right. We'll play music. We'll play cool music. And we'll pretend like we never needed you at all.
Okay, fair enough. That shouldn't take much exercise.
It's essentially group therapy is what it is. Okay, so what's going on here? Let's set a breakpoint here. Get inside here. Clear existing buttons. Why is that not working?
Well, that's very much executing code.
Remove at 13. 13 is the count. I'm just taking them out, counting down 13 down to 12. Okay, so maybe I'm then re-adding them right afterwards. Maybe that's what's happening. That might explain what's happening here. Hold on. Okay, and then we're going to come in here where the player ID is equal to player ID. Player ID in this case
we are setting player actions equal to all of Ava's actions.
Now we've got a big fat 0. So we should be adding nothing. Oh, and now, but we're getting here. This is the problem.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
This is our hard-coded break all the things in this exact way.
I feel like I've just failed a massive test. That this piece right here is basically an indicator that Mark should not be working at doing writing code at all. That right there was, that leaving that behind was super gross. Okay, so let's run now. Let's run. At least now we're going to get back into a world that's a little more expected. And you know, I think that's interesting on this, Roy, is it came about because I was kind of dipping my toe in the water. Mm-hmm. As opposed to just diving all in.
That's true. Yeah.
So now these are all correct and Ava's got stuff now. But, oh wait.
And
now,
everything just works.
This is the day that Mark has finally got his comeuppance. Uh-oh, look at that. Now we're going to test the data. So let's go to the sheet and figure out what's going on with that. That is Greatsword. Guess what Mark thinks? Mark thinks that Greatsword, here it is, these are the two pieces right here and here. We've got to move up down 150. That means we're moving down 150 for the weapon, but not the magic. So if we come in and change this to 150 like that, and then we come in and say, hey, let's download the CSV. And let's see, I need to get the right folder for this. Hold on a second. I actually intelligently, for the first time, I put the folder here so I could copy it. So then I could come back into players shortcuts, and then say file, download CSV. Yeah, I should have just dived into that, Rory. Should have just dived in.
Hesitation causing trouble.
Yeah, so there's my shortcuts CSV. I'm going to overwrite it. I've overridden it. Now I should be able to say refresh data. Boom, like that. I've done it. Switch to Ava. Switch to battle axe. There's the battle axe. Now let's try the greatsword.
Score.
It's a great time
and
for you.
And the crowd goes wild.
It's a great time for you to leave, Rory.
I think...
Isn't it?
I would love to argue my work here is done. However, I'm not entirely sure that you didn't just solve all that on your own.
Oh,
any
Well,
case.
I don't know. I don't know. I think you totally helped. It was awesome. And you got to go, buddy?
I
Is
do.
it a good time?
I
All
do.
right. Hey, thank you so
But I will
much.
see you tomorrow.
We salute you. So a
Thank
consumer
you
out
very
there is out there. Jetsam says applause. Will Bennett says no, Rory, no. That's all right, kids. We got music. When Rory's not here, we play music. That's what we're gonna do.
All right, people. Everyone have a great day.
Take
and I
care.
will
You
see
too.
tomorrow.
All right. Bye, Rory. All right. So that's pretty cool. This is a good time for you to go. Certainly, Deb. Yeah. Okay. Maybe that was Rory. Sad Panda. Rory's going to be here tomorrow, I think. Pretty sure. All right. Will Bennett says, see you, Rory. All right, that's pretty cool. Javelin. Right. Wait, Javelin. Oh, yeah, that's Javelin. Sweet. And that's right where Ava is. If we switch over to our normal view for the game, I'm like over here. And there's Ava over there. Sweet. Let's add something for like one of the other players. Or actually, you know what? Let's try. Do I have Sanctuary and Shield of Faith? I do. Let's try these two because they have spell effects with them. So Sanctuary, yeah, super cool. So this will be cleaned up, right? What'll happen is there'll be a person will choose that'll be the target of the Sanctuary spell, and this will be the effect. Now, I think this effect is maybe a little bit too high, so let's move it down a little bit and we'll bring it back in again. Sanctuary is right here. We've got, all we need to do is go over to the move up down part for Sanctuary. Hey, can I freeze the left one too? The left two columns? View, freeze, two columns. Sweet. So now I can come over here for Sanctuary and I can say, let's move the whole thing down a bit. And maybe I just want to move that green one down. Yeah, I'll move them all down. So we'll go ahead and move them all down. So come in here and say like maybe 80 for this, and 80 and 80 like that. And then save that. There it is. And then hit the initialize button one more time.
Birthday!
And then let's do Sanctuary again. Oh, Ava's over here went down, but mine is still high. Because there's a secondary effect with this, I think, in terms of how it is cast. That's super interesting. Let me do that again. Yeah. Why is mine high? That's what we need to figure out. That's happening down low. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's happening down down here in the overlays. Let's see if I have the word sanctuary in here. I feel like I do. Yeah, so this is a different sanctuary than the one we're sending over. This is not a data-driven sanctuary right here. And then, well, what do I want to do with this? Known spell effects. Yeah, so this is like an additional effect that's kind of happening. I actually don't think we need to do this. So cast spell happens when we call cast spell. Interesting. So let's go back over to our main game up here. Let's go find cast spell. That's where we call it. All right. Yeah, we're just doing this for like known spell effects. This is so that we can pull also, this is also happening here, where we can get this, where we can get that spell and find it later. We're putting the name and the owner ID in it so we can find it and remove that effect later if the player breaks concentration, if it's a spell that requires concentration. Yeah, I'm not sure I like this cast spell right now. If we take it out of here, yeah. Yeah, I like the effects being data driven, so this is kind of going against that. Or we could alternatively, casted spell, we could put the effects into casted spell. Why don't we do that? All right, let's try that and play in that space for a little bit. So there are the wind-up DTOs. I want to create a new list of those. I just copied that on the clipboard. So we're going to call these the effects, the wind-ups, like that. Wait, I don't have, oh, it's an action shortcut dot wind up? Action shortcut dot wind ups. I think that might be enough to get the data there. All right, so that's part one. Part two is coming out in cast spell data DTO, and give it some wind-ups down here as well. I think we have the wind-up class down here. Do I? Oh yeah, here, it's wind-up data. It's right down here. Something like that. All right, so there's our wind-ups. And so we're not going to get a spell effect anymore. We're going to kill all that. family show, so I'm going to say remove this. Let's look at where we are adding windups down below. We're ending it down there. Oh, sweet. Look at that. Yeah, it looks good. So then I think I'm just going to do this, and I'm going to say, actually, do I have the line of code I want? Pretty much right here. Is that it? That may be the only change. Let's try that. So let's refresh on the live stream. There's the front overlay. There's the back overlay. Okay, let's go run the app. Initialize the player data.
E1.
Do sanctuary, and it's low now. Sweet. Didn't last a minute though. Why didn't it last a minute? We need to figure that out. I think, does sanctuary last a minute? We need to go look at that in the spell data, because I thought sanctuary lasted a minute. All right, here we go. Let's come in here, view, freeze, one row. And let's also freeze one column. Cool. Where's my duration? Duration. There we go. Sanctuary, 1 minute. So it lasts a minute, and we went away for after a few seconds. I think I know why. Hold on. I think the spell says yes to fade. If it says yes to fade, it's going to go away after a little bit. I'm going to turn off fade here, here, and here, and see if it lasts a minute now. So let's export this. Export the shortcuts. Nice. Come out here to the app, hit initialize player data. Hit sanctuary. Is it going to last for a minute now? Let's advance the clock by minute. And it went away. But it didn't fade out. And this one didn't go away. Okay. So we need to take a look at that. The casting of the spell is here. So if it's a spell, if it's not a spell, we're calling add windups. We're adding windups twice here. So let me set a breakpoint here so we don't do it if we only add it if it's a spell. So let's try one more time. We click there, get a breakpoint. I'm going to put an else right here, like that. So we're going to only add it once. That effect looks so cool against the dark background. And the minute duration on my side works, but the fade, it's in conflict with the fade. I think I may need more than the fade here on this. Let's go look it through the code. It's how we declared sanctuary before. So this was the old code. Duration is a minute. The windups here, we are calling fade on them here. But this is a different one than the one that was used at the low level. Low level, we went to known spell effects. Let's go find sanctuary here. Known spell effects, get effect liquid sparks. Let's look at that. There might be something in there. No. New wind up data. Why are we getting a, oh wait, there might be some default here. Lifespan is undefined. Fade in and fade out is there. Is it this combo that's allowing it to, what happens when I call fade at the higher level? Let's go look up here when I call fade. What's going on here? Here we're actually setting the lifespan. That's the difference. All right. Thanks, Codeman Codes. So I'm debating right now whether I'm going into here and I'm going to add turn fade into 3 different fields. Fade in, fade out, and lifespan. It's kind of what I'm feeling. I thought I was going to be able to get by with just this X here because we would call fade, but this fade here is different from the low level one when we define it right here where we say it's got an undefined lifespan. So I could say fade plus, whether it was, you know, oh wait, I can figure this out. I think I can do it without any changes here. Hold on a second. Worldwake says, hi, Fred. Hi, Mark. Welcome. You know, when you say hi to Fred, he likes to say hi to you back. Right now, he doesn't have that, but he does have this. I think we added these, but I don't know if you saw this, if you guys were here when these showed up. So now I can say, hey, Fred, what do you think about the code so far? And I can just hit the button here. And Fred's like, I don't know. Or Fred might be planning something. Like, Fred, are you thinking about something? And then, oops, should wait till the other hands go down before I click that button. And then like, you know, Fred, if you were writing this code, do you think you would be like in the number 1 position or the number 2 position? You'd be like number 1, like that. And like, you know, who's the most awesome person on the show, Fred? And Fred would be like, what? Point at the viewer? Well, of course, that's right. That sort of thing. So Fred's got all of these things that you can do. He's for the show. Just hit the buttons and, you know, point to me, put his fist up, thumbs down. All right, that's Fred. I have a wave in there, but I didn't get it, didn't generate it yet, so I have to do that. Let's see, action shortcuts. Let's go find what was it called? It was called like build shortcut button. Is that it? Probably could do sign language. Yeah, a little bit. Actually, it's the click event handler. That's where I think I want to be. Activate shortcut. That's where I want to be. So if the duration has a value, then we want to serialize it. But what I want to do on these windups actually, I can do this when I build the windups from the action shortcut. Let's go there. I think I can fix this. Okay, that's where we bring in the shortcuts. Here's where we're adding the effect. And we're passing the shortcut DTO and on last shortcut. Sweet. So I think the argument goes like this. I think this is what the code change looks like. Here, let's set a breakpoint here. We'll initialize it. And I think it looks like this. If this dot duration, what is it? Where are we inside? We're in player action shortcut. Spell. Dot duration dot has value. So it goes like that. So if there's a spell and it got a duration and it has value, what's wrong here? Okay. So if the spell has a duration value, then that means it's not 0 and it's not infinite for the spell. So a spell that is cast instantly has a 0 duration, and a spell that lasts until it's dispelled has an infinite duration. So if it's is that fair to say? Or does it make sense? Yeah, no, I think that's okay. If it's fair, okay, so if that's the case, and shortcut DTO dot fade, which I think is just a Boolean, to string. Let's go see where fade is used. How am I getting that into Boolean form here? Is checked. Is what I'm calling from windup DTO. Is checked as private. I'm gonna have to kill the app and change the scope of this. Or wait, actually I don't need to do that. I'm just going to wind up dot the lifespan. There it is. And I think its lifespan is equal to spell.duration. Why do we do that? Is that fair or no? No, no. It should be absolutely nothing. It should be nothing. That's what it should be. What do we have here? Lifespan is an int. I guess 0. Let's see if that works. what I'm trying to get to here, so I'm adding the windup and I'm getting the lifespans to 0. I'm trying to get it to the equivalent of what's happening here where we're setting lifespan as undefined, right here. And so yeah, if lifespan is greater than 0, it's just got to be greater than 0, and then it'll come in there and add an expiration date. So I think that might fix it here, because we're adding effect. This is where we create the windups from every single windup DTO that comes in here. And so for each one, we're going to just reset this there. And then I don't have to add anything in there, and my fade checkbox will work. And it'll work differently depending on if it's a spell or something or not. So let's see if that solves it. So initializing the player data. Oh yeah, duh. Looks like it's not going to let me I'll restart. Fred, what do you think of the code so far? Fred's like not raising his thumb, doing his thumbs up. Interesting. Fred is not happy about the code. All right, players, initialize player data. Play.
Evil Bard.
Let's do a refresh also on the dragon back overlay, dragon front overlay. Those are the. All right, and I think I send the data over one more time after I refresh them.
Eva.
And hit Sanctuary. All right, then we advance a minute, and let's see if we fade out, because we're looking for these to fade out now. That's the change. And notice it's only on me because I was the target. Now I'm manually targeting right now, but in the future we'll allow the players to target if a spell is going to affect one of us, like it's a healing spell or a protection spell, that sort of thing. So that's what will go on there. So let me do 1 minute. Didn't fade out. Why is that? Why did it not fade out? I was totally feeling that. Well, oh, the fade though. I turned off the fade. Is that what I did? I did. I turned off the fade. That's why it's not fading out. Okay, let's export this. All right, good. I'm glad I didn't just spend like a whole bunch of time in the code trying to solve this problem. Let's come over here, initialize player data, reload everything. Ava. And let's do Sanctuary. There it is. Spinning around. Let's advance the clock by minute. And it fades out. Sweet. All right. That's what I wanted to do. I've done that before. Looked at the code before the data, Jonathan Delfrossi says. Yeah, I'm like, I felt like I was doing that earlier today where I had some, where I didn't dive in all the way. Normally I do that, and today I was like, let's just do it, dip our toes in the water. Let's just do, let's add one more in here. Let's say Fred, and we're gonna give Fred a battle axe. In fact, I'm gonna copy this. I think I can get all of that. Is there anything else in the effect? Yeah, let's just do that. Copy that. And we're going to come down here and paste it. And thanks so much, Will. I appreciate that. And Fred's battle axe, I think, might be a little bit different. I think he's got a 1d10 or a 1d8 plus 5. That's what I think it is. Let's double check that. What is that for Fred? It's 1d8 plus 5 slashing. That's Fred. So we'll take that. And his modifier, his d20 modifier is 5, and that's essentially all we need to know on that. If we do that, now the scale is not 1.3, it's just 1. So just a 1 scale there. In fact, I created this so that if I left this empty, I can delete these as well. If I delete the scale, it's still going to work. So, by the way, the CSV engine did not allow that. What I had to do is define all of my, I'll show you the player action DTL that I created for this. To make this work here, player action shortcut DTL. Everything's a string. Whereas normally it's nice to be able to say like make these ints and things like that, but then you're forced to put zeros all the way through here, at least based on my limited understanding of the CSV engine. So what I did is I turned them into strings, and then anything that was a number, I'm just calling like a try parse on it, or I've got these get ints and get doubles up here with my default. So this is for scale, so I specify the default here in code, and this cleans up really well, really nicely. So with Fred's out there now, Fred should now have a battle axe button after we save this. Let's save that. By the way, you want to know how to pronounce my last name? It's Delfraise. Delfraise. Did I get that right? I'm so glad you told me that, because I'm like guessing all over the place and doing that thing, you know. Okay, so now let's reload the data. I'm hitting initialize player data button. Switching to Ava, and let's switch to Fred. And we got the battle axe. Now if I click it, his battle axe shows up. That's not bad. I want to move it down. Did I not? Am I not? Oh, I'm not moving Ava's down because it's so big, I think. Is that why? So let's move Fred's battle axe down. So the move up down property is right there. Let's move it down by about, I don't know, 90. And let's play with some magic for a second here. Let's see if the magic works on this. So we're going to do this, and let's do the hue, and we'll just put the word player in here. This is the other reason why I wanted to not use ints for these, is because I wanted to be able to put other words like player here and here, so that when, and if it sees that word, what it's supposed to do is change to the player's hue color. So we should see the hue be in about the same shade as Fred, because his hue is a blue, like his skin color. So we've set that out. Let's refresh the data. Let's switch to Fred, do the battle axe. Nice. It's not bad. Battle axe goes a little bit off screen, but I guess we could fix that too by just scaling that a little bit. Let's go find the scale on that. We're going to need to scale the both the magic and the weapon itself. So do that. Download CSV. There we go. Refresh the data. Here's the battle axe, a little smaller and fully on screen. So cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, so the next thing I got to do, not terribly fun or exciting, but I got to go in to all of this code here, and I got to convert all of this code over to here, just like you just saw me here. I'm not going to do that on the show because, not exciting, I think. But the good news is all of this code is going away. There's a ton of code here for adding the weapons and adding the special effects for the weapons, and it was getting crazy out of hand. Just for the record, there's what do we got in this? This is about 3,000 lines long, 3,100. So we'll see how long it gets after we clean all that up and get that out, see what the overall impact is. And I think we're heading in the right direction. That's what I think we're doing. Right? Being able to control these remotely using the buttons, right? Coming in here, being able to come into the player. I'm choosing my player right now, using the buttons on the Stream Deck. Let's bring up the Chaos Bolt effect. Ooh, Chaos Bolt doesn't work because we didn't add it. I just hit Chaos Bolt on there. But we could go ahead and add it. Let's try adding it right now. Merkin, Chaos, whoops. Chaos Bolt, like that. And I gotta put the spell level that spell slot level I'm gonna put it at, cast it at. So I'm gonna say level 3. Let's see, what do I need? This is where this column, I was talking about this earlier, is really bad. The type of the attack here is a Chaos Bolt attack. It's a special attack where the damage dice come in and they determine what the damage is going to be. The time for this is 1 action. The die string doesn't really matter. In fact, I'm going to leave it empty because we're going to get it from the spell. The spell database right here is going to allow me to calculate what the die string is. So super cool there. I can just leave that empty. In fact, I think I can even leave this empty, actually. I can, because it's going to get the casting time as well. It'll figure out how long it'll take to cast that. And then we're just looking at what the effects are over here. And so let's look at Chaos Bolt and how we built Chaos Bolt before. Add Chaos Bolt. Here it is. And here's how I'm adding them at the 3 different levels here. I'm just passing in the spell slot level here. So looks like we're dropping the offset down on the effects all by the same 140. So, and it looks like it's got a lot of effects, right? Which is kind of cool. The effect changes based on what spell slot level. So since this is a code-based thing, we're not going to be able to do this in the spreadsheet. But that's okay. We're going to use Trails because I like that one. It's a nice killer effect. So we'll say Trails is the effect. And the hue is going to be, we'll do 300. And scale is going to be 1. Then we've got the rotation, and that's going to be equal to 45. Degrees offset is nothing, but flip horizontal is true. Let's put an X right there. And move up and down, we said I think 140. And then we're going to come down and we're going to keep going. We're going to take Trails. We're just going to come down here like that. And so the next hue offset is 220. The rotation is negative 45. So that's the other shoulder. So one shoulder goes this way, the other shoulder goes that way. So it's a 45-degree rotation. No flip horizontal here on that one. Okay. Flip horizontal just will change the rotation, whether it spins one way or clockwise or counterclockwise for the rotating pieces. Next one is 330. Like that. And its angle is 45, and flip horizontal is true. And degrees offset is 120. Finally, we're using that. 120, like that. And then we have 250. Like that. This is probably negative 45 again. And degrees offset is 120. So when I do the degrees offset, what I'm doing is I'm building over the shoulders, I'm building 3 different trails that are following each other. I could just do one as well, where we're just going like this, about one every 2 seconds it goes around one full turn. But if I put 3 in there, then I get 3 every 2 seconds. Wait. I missed some things over here in the chat room. That's a toy battle axe now. Yeah, it says Oisido. Yeah. What? I'm sorry, Will. I totally missed some comments earlier, folks. Here, maybe a DTO and then a typed class that constructs from the DTO. I have a feeling I know where you're talking about. In the code, I was thinking about that as well. And then if we're talking about TypeScript, then yes, we were thinking about the same place. And I decided we were okay. What we learned here is that less code is better than more code. Absolutely. Does this imply no code is better than any code? Kind of. No code is the only code that's bug-free. Depends on whose code it is, says Copperbeardy. Lazy programmer is generally a good programmer. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. We're down to the last two trails. Here, and here. So we're going to do a flip horizontal again. Oh, this one should be not. So we're flipping horizontal every other one, and these are, I think, 240 and 240. And this one should be -45, and I'm not even looking at it. I'm just like looking at the pattern. What do we got here? It's 270 and 190 are colors here. These are just color shifting those hues. And I think that's all we need to do for Chaos Bolt. Let's see if that works. So we'll export this. Let's initialize the data. Let's switch over to Merkin. I'm now using the Stream Deck. Let's switch over to MIDI, and then I'll switch to Merkin. And now I'm going to go to the actions. I'm going to hit the Chaos Bolt button. Nothing. Oh, because it's now Chaos Bolt 3. Because it's not matching. It's got to match the text exactly. Let's fix that. So I'm going to keep my hands off them. I'm not going to click this button here. I'm only going to use the Stream Deck. So I'm going to come in here, and I might have a problem. Let's see if I can do that. So I've just typed in the 3 right there. Let's hit the button and see what happens. Did it work or no? Looks like it did not work. I think I know why. I think it's my, I've got a regular expression out there in, where is that regular expression? I think it's down here. Is that right? What is the class name is the select player command, I think, or something like that. Select, no it is, it's up here. I think it's select player. Got a select shortcut command. That's what I want, right there. Okay, here's my problem. This regular expression doesn't allow brackets, and I've got a bracket on the button text. So I'm going to set a breakpoint here. And I think I just need to hit the button on the Stream Deck to trigger the breakpoint. Cool. Now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do a double slash and an open bracket and a double slash and a close bracket. And I think that's all I need for the fix. Let's hope that works. Let's see if we get a match this time. Yeah, we got a match. Sweet. Now I think it's going to work. Let's go. Look, we got it. And we got a special effect. But we don't have this thing going back and forth. The staff. So cool, we've got the trails, totally what we want, but we don't have the staff. So we need to kind of figure that out. I think there's just stuff we're missing over here. Add staff. So add staff throws up the staff.weapon and staff.magic. So that means we need to come back over here and we need to come in and grab staff.weapon. Here, and we are converting that hue shift is going to be, oh, I gotta hit escape to find out what the hue shift is. 220. So we got a 220 there, and the staff.magic. Is this all integrated with the Stream Deck? Yeah, Frackberg. What's super cool about this is that it's crazy integrated with Twitch and with Stream Deck. Our Dungeon Master is a Stream Deck with these buttons on it. Frackberg, I agree. My fanfare even says so explicitly. Regex not even once. Nice. Nice. I like the regex in there. I was not bad with it. If someone unfortunately dies, do you have death effects? We have blood effects here. So, for example, you want to give me some blood effects. It looks like that, right? So the Dungeon Master can do that. Just took off 22 blood. It hit me again with a -20, and I dropped to 0 like that, right? By the way, if we keep doing it and it goes Fred's direction, it's just a random direction each time. Watch what Fred does. That's Fred. Fred takes care of himself there. He doesn't like to get hit with blood. He's okay if it goes that way, but he doesn't like getting blood on himself because he's Fred, right? All right, so the staff magic. What's the hue on the magic? It's 270, like that. And let's go look at what's going on in the staff. Any other properties? There's no fade in on that. Play to end on expire is true. Are we going to know to do that on these weapons here? We might have a problem with the staff showing up and down. And we're moving the staff down by 150. 150. Let's see what happens. I think we're going to have a problem with the staff. We'll have to fix it. Saving that. Saving that. Fred still kind of freaks me out. Fred? They say you kind of...
Fred!
You're freaking them out. What do you think about that, Fred? Fred says he doesn't know. Someone dies, they appear as a zombie on screen. Well, Codemen Codes, that's like our next foray. After we get the basic engine totally working, the next place we're going is in an OBS plugin where we're going to hopefully, well, we'll be able to change the video effects, the filters on individual elements. Hopefully, that's my hope number one. Hope number two is that we'll be able to actually follow the motion of the player. So if we've got an effect like a crown of thorns or something or whatever it is, and the player moves their head, we're going to move that thorns with them. That's what I want to do. I don't know if we're going to be able to do it or not. Laughing out loud. Fred sound effect was cool. I would love a 6-foot tall real life Fred statue in the corner of the garden between the sunflowers. Yeah. I like Fredgex when it's working. It kills me to get that point though. Yeah, Frackberg, you know, I actually did some cool stuff in CodeRushed Classic where I created something called regular expression aliases that allowed me to take a regular expression and then give it an alias. And then I could build more complex regular expressions just by chaining the aliases together in a new, combined with other regular expression terms in it. And it was really sweet and beautiful. So what I could do is I could create a regex for finding, for example, an identifier, and then create a regular expression using that identifier alias with another alias for like type declaration, and then match the two together, and then I could use regular expressions to match code, and then we could have features based on those. Yeah, it was really useful, and but I don't do regular expression stuff enough to do anything with that. And when we moved to CodeRushed Classic, CodeRushed for Roslyn, devs were like, hey, we'd like to get to something a little more smarter based on the code. And I was like, okay, fine.
Merkin.
So now I'm on Merkin here.
Wolfhard.
Let's go back to Merkin. Using
Merkin Bushwhacker.
do Chaos Bolt. And now it's up. So the question is, will this go away when we switch to another character? Will it swing down?
Ava.
No, it did not.
Bushwhacker.
Let's do it again. What do I need to do to test this? I need to give me something else. I'm going to just grab the battle axe right now, and I'm going to just paste it in here. Where are we? Right about there, it looks like. 41. Paste the battle axe there. That's Merkin. Have you tried regex buddy, Frackberg? Okay, and so there we've added that, and we've got this piece. Just give me a second piece right here, the battle axe. Let's save that. And save it. And initialize.
Lady McLovenut. Merkin.
And now, if I come up here and I say Chaos Bolt, that looks good. Now if I switch to Battle Axe, I want to see the staff swing down. Nope, it doesn't. It's not. Even when I do use regex, I tend to find one that is close to what I want, and then I modify it. Yeah, I have enough regex skill to kind of, know that I can maybe solve the problem with it. That's kind of where I'm at. So, all right, so the playthrough expire, we need to set. And in all of these, we're setting them because yeah, I think I need to add a new column, playthrough to expire. Because I think what's happening is we are action shortcut. Activate shortcut. That's the name of the method I need to get to. Let's actually come over here and get over here. Right-click, activate shortcut. Say add to favorites, and let's add it to the shortcuts group. So that means if I go over to favorites and I go open up shortcuts, I got to activate shortcut there. Sweet. So I think playthrough. Let's go see if we can find this. Like, there's a property here called playthrough. Play to end on expire. Okay, got it. So we really need a column for that, I think, is what we do. So let's add a column to that. I think I'm going to do that. Insert one left. Play to end on expire. And we're going to just come down and say yes, yes, yes. I want to center all these. Yes, 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 yes. So any 3D weaponry, I'm gonna do this with the battle axe like that, and this and this and the staff like that. Play to end on expire. So we're gonna say okay, cool. So let's download that. You see how hard it is. Leader is now following. Leader is now following. Cool. We're talking about regex stuff, and we're building special effects for for Dungeons and Dragons live streaming game here. And now that I've done that, now we want to come in and player action shortcut DTO. I think I'm going to just kill everything because I got to redefine the class here. We're going to come in and play to end on expire, like that. And then I'm going to go look for fade. Where do I use fade? And I'm going to do this. I'm going to say, hey, if is, in fact, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to select all of that and say if play to end on expire. Then we're going to say windup data dot play to end on expire equals true, like that. And I think that's maybe all I got to do. Let's see if that's the case. See if I'm missing anything. Let's tab the next reference on that fade. Yeah, it's just there and there. All right. So we're starting up. Where are we running? Where's my app? There, here it comes. All right. Let's initialize the player data. Go to Merkin. And let's bring up the Chaos Bolt. And then now let's bring up the Battle Axe. And we want to see that magic staff swing down when this spring comes up. Right now. Sweet. Awesome. And then back over here, this should swing down too. We did that right. Nice. Sweet. Hitting Chaos Bolt on the Stream Deck. Boom. Nice. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about that. Fred, what do you think? Good? Fred says it's good. Should we end the show? Think I should be empowered and make that decision on my own? Yeah? Is that what you think, Fred? Okay. The effect doesn't, the effect over the shoulders doesn't work so well when things in front of it appear, right? It's like almost I need a second green screen level for things that are going to come up. By the way, I had this idea, you know, we talk about this fictitious company that I have called Overkill Productions because, you know, look at all the stuff. And what were we thinking about? What was I thinking about doing? Oh, I know what it was. I realized I could do killer effects that looked like they were me, and my hand was integrated with the effects. Like I could come up and draw like something and have a trail of magic go behind my finger, or do something like this, right, where my hands are actually holding, you know, a glowing orb, and the glow, you can see it on my face. I realized that we could do that, not too much trouble, and I'm like, oh. Wonder if we should do those kinds of effects too, because it's kind of crazy over the top. Yeah, so I think that's it. I'm going to call it a show. We made it through. You can at least see the direction, right, of where we're going. We have a source code file that's got about 3,200 lines in it, and hundreds of those lines are dedicated to creating these effects. We're going to clean all that up. We're going to create a bigger spreadsheet here that's going to have all of this data in it. And yeah, I think that's kind of where we're going. So we'll see how all of this looks, and we'll be back again tomorrow. Let's see who I'm following out there. We'll see if we can get somebody to strip me. Oh, Michael Jolly's out there. Let's send you Michael Jolly. I always like sending you guys over there because, you know, he's such a professional. He's such a professional. Seriously. I should have a button for this. I'm always typing this by hand every time. And let's do this. Let's fade out the music. We'll do the CodeRushed ending, and then I'll send you guys all over there. Thanks so much, everybody.